You have a wonderful line in the introduction of the book that says, what is creativity? In order to understand how creativity works, we must first understand what it is, as well as what it is not. In its purest form, creativity is a force. For people listening, talk a little bit about what creativity is and what it's not, and why it is a force, because I think that's a really interesting framing.
Thank you. I wanted to pose it in a really abstract way, and then I wanted to bring it back to really concrete. So the abstract is where I like to start, because it's kind of like a palate cleanser. And we just talked about gravity. It's a force of nature. Creativity is a force of psychology. It's just the way our brains work. Human beings are unique amongst the entire animal kingdom because of our ability to imagine what is not in front of us. Okay, and it is essentially to be creative. Is our, if you asked me earlier, what's my superpower as a whole, human being superpower is creativity, guaranteed 100%. And so you've got this force, the psychological force of creativity, that is, in its simplest terms, creativity is the practice of ideas. And when you are endeavoring and bringing those ideas to life, it's self-expression. And that's it. And it doesn't need to be painting, it doesn't need to be design. It can be creating a spreadsheet. It can be organizing your closet. All of it counts as creativity.
It's a great answer. Hey, I want to talk a little bit about and demystify creativity, because one of the points that you make is that creativity is not magical, which I think is a really important note to hit on. And this isn't from your book. I'm also going to quote from, you've got a bunch of newsletters I really like that we're going to link to in the show notes. This one's from a newsletter that you sent out called The Truth About Creative Magic. But the line is, while the results of creativity are often magical, the process to get there is not. The practice of creativity is as reliable and unmagical as accounting or baseball or law or any other endeavor. Talk about why that's important and why it's important people understand that creativity is not magic.
That's one that frustrates me. Is while I was writing the book, people are going, "Oh, dude, are you going to teach us the magic?" And I was always like, "I am not, because it is not magic." So that was such a sticking point to really get this book out. And first I'll just pose the question to anyone, which is, if you think creativity is magic, if you think it's this thing that may come or may not, like the muse may or may not strike, how do people like you or me or other designers, people who get paid to mostly do creative things, how do they reliably get paid?
Yeah, that's not magic. It's not magic at all.
Right. Because if they didn't perform every day at work, they're not getting paid. No one is going to stand around and hope that they figure it out today and that no one's going to pay that paycheck. So the best way that I could describe creativity in this regard is, what's a city in the world that you have not been to yet, but you want to go to?
I really like to go to Belgium. I don't know any specific cities.
That's awesome. Yeah. Let's just say Belgium. So Daniel wants to go to Belgium. Now I want to go to Belgium because we're going on this journey together. He's never been there and I've never been there. But both of us can tell you exactly how to get there. Okay? We would go outside, we'd walk or take a bus or a cab or whatever it is to the airport, get on a plane, fly, land, get in a cab or whatever again, follow signs, and eventually get to Belgium. And that's a guarantee, okay? So while the end is a mystery, I have no idea what I'm going to get when I get there. I can tell you how to get there every time. The creative process is the same. You follow the same processes of roads and maps and signs and vehicles, and you get to the end. But I can't tell you what it is, but I'll always be able to tell you how to get there.
So well said. I mean, just an immediate counterpoint that I think of is every design team has a design process. You never go to a design team and they're just like, we just hang around. And then all of a sudden, at random times, this idea emerges and it's fully fleshed out and we just ship it. No, every design team has a process and it is very rigorous. In my experience, the better the design team, typically the more rigorous the process.
Absolutely. Well said.
Which I think is a good, kind of, rebuttal of this idea that it's magic.